Once you have chosen your tools and sharpened your carving tools, then you're ready to actually start on your project. So once you've got that bag off, got all your tools, then you're going to start looking at your sculpture and look at it from all different angles. Which way do you think it's going to be the most interesting? Which is going to give it the most upward lift? You don't want to just, it's like, okay, it stands this way, it doesn't move around too much. Apparently my sculpture is going to sit this way. Now you want to turn it around so that you can really figure out what's going to give it the most interest. Most of the time upright, which is hard to show you on the camera, most of the time upright is going to be more interesting. So I think the most interesting way to show my sculpture is really going to be to remove down here so that it's going to actually stand like that. But I really want to look around there. It could stand, this could be my base. That would work as well. I tend to like to go for angles though. So I'm going to rasp that off. So I'm going to use one of the large Sureform rasps. And I'm going to rasp off the bottom, or what I've determined is the bottom, until it will stand. And notice I've got my white cardboard down. The blue stripes are facing down. And I rasp a little. Hey, and there it goes. So my sculpture actually stands like this, so it'll look like, pretend my hand is the table. It's going to stand like that, so that when it goes around, I've got to really think about how am I going to be able to make this the most interesting. Keep in mind, you remove almost 50% of your plaster, but this part was just about making it so that it stands. Now while you've got that rasp, you can also look, it's like, oh, okay, this is going to go away. I know I don't want that. So really, you just start thinking like Michelangelo at this point. Michelangelo supposedly said something to the effect when asked how he created his masterpieces. It's like, how do you make those sculptures out of that big block of marble? Again, I'm paraphrasing. And he basically said, all I do is remove the part that's not the sculpture. That's what you're doing. You're removing the part that is not your sculpture. You're releasing the sculpture within. Okay, so I don't want any of this stuff. So I'm going to take that off as well. The problem with the rasps is that people tend to get a little bit over-reliant and they take a lot of outer surface off, but they don't remove enough on the inside. Okay, so I'm just taking off stuff that can't possibly be valuable shapes for my sculpture. And a lot of times those points aren't all that helpful either, so I'm going to get rid of that as well. But because that rasp is large, that's probably all I'm going to use my rasp for. And I could have possibly made it so that my sculpture didn't stand anymore. If you have trouble getting it to stand, don't fret. You actually remove enough plaster that you keep changing its center of gravity, so it's all right. So I've got my sculpture done. That's all I need this big rasp for right now. So remember, I need to take the wire brush over it. Careful, don't take that wire brush over your hand. It will hurt. But I want to get any of the plaster off of there. Kind of tap it a little bit. And more of it sticks while that plaster is wet. That also causes more damage to the tools. So now I'm going to put the wire brush back and put the rasp back. And then that's all I'm going to do at this stage. Don't worry, there's lots more carving to do.